Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here, and it is Wednesday, and we're the day after Canada eliminated from the Olympics by France. It really sucks because the more I think about it, the more this is like worse than just like losing the NBA because this is like a 4 year cycle. So it's like losing this way and going out. It's like a 4 year thing. So we won't be able to get a chance to go to the Olympics again until 2028, and Team Canada stuff won't happen again until 2025. So, man, it's just really disappointing to go out like this, and it really is like script writing. I'm sorry. Other people can say what they want to say. I've paid very close attention to this France team recently, and they are not good. They're like very much needed help. This is basically the equivalent of like the Lakers and the NBA. They always try to help the Lakers do better than they should because they want the marquee-ness of LeBron. And in this case, the one of the crown jewels of the Paris Olympics is Victor Wembanyama. And if Victor Wembanyama was to fail like he's supposed to naturally right now, it would be a big fail for the host country and a big travesty. So in some ways, we're uh, just the team that gets the shaft because they want to propel this team forward. Now, we're going to watch with open eyes tomorrow when they play Germany if there's more of this happening. I've been writing on Twitter in different places if there's the hat trick of screwing over teams, like because Japan really got the same thing happen to them that happened to Canada yesterday. The same thing happened to them. They had the game in hand and they were winning, and some screwy referee stuff at the end of regulation allowed for an overtime, and then the French team just went crazy in the overtime and overwhelmed Japan at that point. But it took like a miracle 4-point play, and that was not a foul. There's very much picture evidence that the Japanese player did not touch the French player. So they were already screwed, and the Japanese fans were crying out about it last week. And when I looked at it, it's like, yeah, they're script writing for France. And that's why I was worried going into this game the days before that they might try and do the same thing against us as far as script writing. So I'm really, really annoyed by the game yesterday. I was trying to be good about it at first, but then the more I thought about it, I started to feel like Smooth Brown Man as far as like just like how mad he was about it after the game yesterday. So I'm going to try and dig up the comments from the last stream that I had, guys, that didn't work so that I can read them still. So hang on just a sec. I'm going to get those. And then, yeah, this has been a difficult transition getting out here to the studio and getting my stuff figured out as far as things because this is so dumb. I should have had a mic check before I went on here. So let me just get to the right stream and I'll see whether I can't see the chat anyway, guys. So sorry about that. I'm not going to be able to read your comments that you wrote on the original stream because they're gone. So if you can just fill in some of the ideas that you guys were thinking about wanting to talk about. As far as I'm going to react to the box score and look it over, do the Instagram stories. We'll do the classic card. We'll do basic stuff. We do have a birthday today. It's a weird birthday, but we know what we're going to do the birthday because we love this guy. 35 years old. This man right here. It's DeMar's birthday, guys. He's 35 today. Happy birthday to DeMar DeRozan. Even though things are cloudy with how you feel about Toronto and Raptors fans, we still love you. And we want to say happy birthday to one of the greatest Raptors of all time, DeMar DeRozan today. 35 years old. Some really big time and major important Raptors with birthdays at the beginning of August with Alvin Williams yesterday and DeMar DeRozan today. It's like Kyle Lowry has a crazy birthday week where he has to get presents for his best friends, Alvin and DeMar. Kyle's so awesome. But yeah, DeMar, I hope you have a great day today. Of course, he's a King now, and he's getting ready to play for the Sacramento Kings. So it's kind of interesting. So yeah, getting back to the game, it was I don't even know how to handle this in the right way. So the first thing I'll say is I will give a kudos to France in a couple ways because I do feel like there were things that they did that were absolutely a huge part of why they won, and this was coaching, and this was also um, uh, just being smart and being opportunist. I mean, it could be as easy as like the FIBA refs are going to tell them, like, yeah, come out and just foul the hell out of them. We're not going to call anything on y'all. And when they try to do anything to you guys defensively, we'll call everything on them, because that's pretty much what the script was as far as things. You know, the fact that Lesort had so many freaking free throws by halftime, like you guys said, he had more free throws than the whole entire Canadian team, is messed up. It's not that this guy is like some sort of offensive genius or some sort of gifted player. No, it's just that every single way they could call it. And there was funny ref manipulation with how the fouls were called. Now, you can look at the box score and you will see that in some ways they try to even out the foul calls, 24-26. Now, I want to teach you guys something about ref manipulation. Now, they said 26, only 2 more fouls called on Canada than France. And some people say, oh, only 2 more fouls. Yeah, but do you understand the different kinds of fouls the refs can call? And they can very much control this. Non-shooting and shooting fouls. That is the big key here. When we're talking about the fouls that were committed on Canada, they were always almost in the act of dribbling and not in the act of shooting, according to the refs. Now, the refs can be trigger fingers on the calls if they feel like there was a very much a play yesterday that I called out live while we were watching it, where RJ got the mismatch on a smaller player for France on the baseline. Now, instead of allowing the play to develop, you know, the French player didn't really play with that much physicality. The refs called a touch foul on France in that instance because the ref could recognize in an instant that RJ had a positional mismatch and that he was going to get a basket or a trip to the free throw line. Well, the officials can call the foul before RJ makes his move even and just say it's a foul on the floor and it's a side out. Now, basically what happens there is they take away the scoring opportunity of the mismatch that was gained by Canada at that time, because he's either going to get to the line or he's going to make the shot. And they can recognize that quickly. I mean, these refs are smart. They can understand mismatches and advantages in this instant and know what to call right at the second. So they call a foul before RJ is able to make his offensive move and say it's a foul on the floor. And well, they negate the mismatch that we worked so hard to get to, and we get no points from it. Often the referees, when they called fouls on France, were non-shooting fouls. And it was side out for Canada. And that's, you know, in some ways, I'm not going to say that every single foul that was called on us that was on them was a shooting foul, because there's quite often gray area fouls where they shouldn't have been going to the line. Now, it perpetuates itself. It's like the ref hit job comes right at the beginning because they don't want to mess around. They know if they don't hit Team Canada right away, that Team Canada is probably going to blow them out and run away with it. So right at the very beginning of the game, they stymie them. And whether it's the French activity around the ball and attacking and defending, or it's the refs being blatantly unfair, Team Canada has a buzzsaw to try and go through right at the beginning of the game. Then you add in that some of our key players that have been very, very hot and played very, very well during this summer were not finding it at that point, that they were having a hard time making their open shots. So it was a bad situation. The first quarter absolutely lost the game for them. And as SGA said after the game, we felt like we only lost the first quarter, and then we start beating them every quarter after that. Well, it's not technically true, because they did outscore us in other quarters. But as far as trying to play harder and beat them, yeah, I would agree with that. It's such a big hole right at the beginning. And in some ways, we all knew right away that the hit job was in and that they were script writing France was going to win this game no matter what. Even if they had shrunk the lead by the end of the game to really, really close, if it was even just like a 3-point game, the refs would have screwed over Canada no matter what, guys, because the only thing that they wanted yesterday was a W going to Wembanyama. That's the only thing they wanted. Now, like I said, tomorrow we'll have to see if they're going to try and pull this bullshit out like a hat trick and screw over Germany as the third team. Because in some ways, they really do want the USA versus France in the final, because this is the marketing magic. This is the bullshit. And if you guys are going to be Vince McMahon and WWE script right, the main event you want, why don't you just skip to the end? Why do you have all the other teams and all the resources, all the players and all the people using all their time? If you just want an exhibition game between Wembanyama and France versus USA, why don't you just fucking have that at Las Vegas and do that instead? Because that's the way I feel about it. All right, let me get back to chat. And I'm sorry about losing the chat from before. Carlos here. Morning, Lex and fellow freaks. Good morning to you, Carlo JS. Good to see you, my guy. G saying France shot 42 free throws in 40 minutes, and apparently this is the most free throws by a team in the Olympics. Also, Japan was more efficient than France, and they lost. Yeah, I mean, listen, France is not a good team. In some ways, we can look at them and see they're not connected. People can say, oh, Canada wasn't connected either. Well, that's true. In some ways, we played the most selfish game we played so far, and that's what Jordy said after the game, that he felt like our team wasn't connecting, and the assists and the NBA isolation kind of I'm going to take over kind of thing was happening. But there's a reason why that was happening. And there's a reason why SGA is the only player that really got going yesterday. Because in some ways, the supreme level talent of SGA was the only one that could survive in the ecosystem of what the referees and the crazy play by France was dictating. I mean, if they're allowed to do anything physically and we're not, this is what happens. It's the same kind of stuff that's happened to the Raptors in the NBA in the last couple of years. When Nick Nurse used to put that lineup out there with Precious and Gary and all those guys, and they were just all over everybody, sometimes the refs would stop that by calling every touch foul on the Raptors and not call anything on the other side. Well, this is exactly what happened yesterday. France could play without impunity. They had impunity. They could do whatever the hell they wanted to, and they could get away with it. There was a lot of physicality. So some of the missed shots, other than the open ones, were very agitated and hit, and there was no calls. So, and there was a lot of not giving any preference for the Team Canada on 50-50 calls. Almost every single 50-50 call, they leaned towards calling it towards France. In fact, there were a couple of times where the call was obviously in the favor of Canada, and there was debate, and then they switched it back. Like they switched it. They said Canada at first, then they said, no, it's France. And then they switched it back to Canada after Jordy almost had to do a challenge. So there was a lot of screwy stuff like this, and Jordy was pissed. In some ways, people were saying Canada was overconfident. Well, maybe we were overconfident that we should have thought about the factor of how we might get screwed and that there's no fucking around. There's no casualness. If Jamal Murray came in there smiley and be like, yeah, this can be fun, guys. Let's just have fun. Fuck you, Jamal Murray. You should have been ready for the FIBA officials to fuck us over and to have to play at an absolutely high level. The Raptors fans and the Raptors team know this. At least the old edition does. Maybe the youngsters will have to learn some of these tough lessons. That it's going to take a little bit more extra sometimes when you're wearing certain jerseys in unfair leagues. So, man, the one thing I'll give credit, like I said I was going to, is them not playing Gobert. This stupid ass thing they're saying about whether he was injured or not, I don't care. I don't give a shit. If they're saying that just to save face for him, just to make him look good, it was ambiguous. They're saying he had a surgery on his finger, but they're saying no, he just got his finger hurt in practice. I don't give a shit what happened. Whatever lies you have to make up for Rudy Gobert not playing hardly at all in this game, and y'all are better without him, you go ahead, France. But that was a key move because Rudy Gobert messes y'all up. He's a loser. He loses basketball games. And people celebrating Rudy Gobert in that game, you're idiots. They won despite him. And him only playing 3 minutes was the genius move by the French coach. That absolutely was a huge game changer. Their starting lineup was perfectly crafted, that they did a really good job. And it's so interesting that Gobert and Wemby were not the factors in this game at all. It's a guy like Cordner or Yabusele. And that's annoying. That's annoying as hell. So I have to give kudos to France, whether he's injured or not. I don't care. The guts to not play Rudy Gobert, a loser kind of player in this game, because that actually helped y'all win. That did. Like, not playing Gobert absolutely helped y'all win. If he had played, y'all probably would have lost. I'm not going to lie, France. Seriously, y'all would have probably lost if Rudy Gobert played his regular minutes yesterday because he's that kind of player. He adds up to losing. Trust me. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. 42 free throws, the most free throws any team has taken in this competition. Yeah, that's what they had to do. That's what they had to do, and Lasort in particular. And they had to ensure it, so they did it all front ended. They didn't do the screwing over. They would have done the little bit of screwing over at the end if it had been closed, but they front ended screwing over the Canada in the first half, and they screwed them really bad. I mean, we can't get mad at our guys for not scoring well yesterday. You guys got to understand that France was allowed to do whatever. Another big factor in why Canada couldn't score in the first game was Wembanyama. In some ways, him being out in the court in the middle, he is a really big problem. He's been that way in the NBA in his first year, and well, he was again yesterday. There were often times where Dylan Brooks or RJ Barrett or SGA would get in the lane, and Wembanyama was creeping and lurking, and they had to think twice about going up because they just get blocked. And that is something that is a problem. In some ways, I think Victor's more of a problem on the defensive end than he is on the offensive end. And the Wembanyama factor in the game yesterday absolutely hurt our offense because it had all of our scorers second guessing whether they should be shooting or not. In some ways, that's on Jordy, that he should have had a better offensive plan for dealing with the rovingness of Wembanyama and what they might do with him. In some ways, there's some sort of swing passes to get away from him as quickly as possible. All kinds of different plays they could have put up. But the Team Canada was not playing connected, and they were not looking for each other in the correct way. There was too much isolation NBA style play. And SGA, well, he's top level. He can do that, and he can still be successful scoring, even though he didn't really have a great game statistically. He wasn't efficient, but he still was carrying us as far as scoring when we really needed points to try and catch up. So, yeah, we'll do the 3 stars of the game. We only do 3 if we lose. And I am going to talk about the other side of the with the box score with France, because there's some very interesting stuff on the other side there too. Yeah. So Nako saying shout out to SGA, Lou, and Dylan. 2 finger salute to the refs. Yeah, definitely. And in some ways, look, Batum winking at RJ Barrett at one point when the ball was off of them and they got possession. Yeah, it's like Nicholas Batum's in on it too. He's like, listen, I've been around. I understand this. I'm the home country. We're going to get all the favor. We're supposed to win today. That's how confident he is. So he does a little wink at RJ Barrett. It's like, yeah, haha, the refs are on our side. It's very blatant when you see that. A veteran like Batum understanding that. So my first star of the game is SGA. Obviously, he was carrying us yesterday as much as anybody could. 9 for 19. That's what I'm saying. He wasn't totally efficient, but he was okay. 1 for 4 at the 3-point line. His free throws were bad in some ways. He missed 3 free throws, he could have been better, but that's still not bad too. 8 of 11. He had 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 2 turnovers, 27 points in 37 minutes. He played almost every single minute of that game. He only sat 3 minutes of the game. And that says a lot, that we were behind already and that he had to stay in there to keep continuing applying the pressure with his ultimate talent. So, yeah, 27, that's a big-time scoring. He's one of the leaders from yesterday in the whole Olympics. But, man, it sucks. And there really wasn't a whole lot of help for him. My second star is RJ Barrett, 6 of 11, 2 of 5 from 3, 2 of 3 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 16 points. Yeah, it's tough. RJ didn't shoot well early, but then he started playing better in the second half and started chipping in and going on little scoring runs to help us. And that was fantastic. We see him get some layups. We see him hit a 3. Very, very key stuff late to try and help us get a run to get back in the game. So he was out there trying. One of the things I didn't like with RJ's game yesterday was quite often he was guarding Wembanyama, and I don't like that. I just don't think that that's a very smart assignment for him. And that in some ways that there was a real problem with Jordy messing up this game because he went small. Yeah, I know everybody's saying that we screwed up because we were too small yesterday. Well, that's the coach's fault. He should have played Kelly Olynyk and Kem Birch. He should have played them a majority of the game. They could have been down there fighting with Lasort and Yabusele way better than Trey Lyles and Dwight Powell. And I'm really going to stand on this, that Kelly Olynyk not playing in this game more was a big, huge fail by Jordy Fernandez, because this game yesterday was a Kelly Olynyk kind of game. Chippy, physical, dirty,
veteran savvy kind of stuff where you need to know when to hit and when to not, argue with the refs, all that kind of stuff. Kelly Olynyk's kind of game, his name written all over it. And meanwhile, he's wasting his time out there with Trey Lyles playing 12 minutes. Nah, Olynyk only playing 3 minutes yesterday was a travesty. And in some ways, the sad thing about it is I don't know if Kelly Olynyk will get another chance to go to the Olympics in the next cycle. I hope he does. I hope that he's still at a certain level of play, that he can come back. But the fact that he did not get to play more in the last game of this situation is sad to me, because this game had Kelly Olynyk style all over it, and he would have helped us. So there's a fail for you, Jordy, on that. Now, I'm not against Jordy Fernandez in any kind of way other than I'll point out some of his mistakes, but I don't want to get rid of him. Don't mistake me criticizing our Team Canada coach for me saying I don't like him being our coach, because I love him, and I think he's going to be fantastic for us. And there's a learning curve for him also, just as much as there's a learning curve for players and different people too. So, yeah, that's the mistake right there. And Khem Birch was fantastic. He's my third star of the game, guys. Those are my 3 stars, SGA, RJ, and Khem. Khem came in for only 8 minutes. He was 2 of 3 from the field. He managed to grab 3 offensive rebounds in 8 minutes. 5 rebounds altogether, 5 points in 8 minutes. 5 rebounds, 5 points. Khem Birch. Why the fuck isn't Khem Birch out there muscling around with Yabusele and them for the whole game? Why not, Jordy? Seriously, maybe he can get fatigue, but you should at least play him one of the main, he should have 20 minutes in this game. I'm sorry. Khem Birch and Kelly Olynyk both should have played about 20 minutes in this game. And in some ways, you going heavy with the talent on the guard side against a very physical, crazy game, well, that's how we lost, is right there. You know, anybody who's complaining that we weren't big enough in this Olympics, you're wrong. We were. It's just Jordy decided to go small in stupid times when he didn't need to. That is the problem right there. That's it right there. There's my 3 stars of the game. Go on, SGA, RJ, and Mr. Birch. You guys were the guys. I could give an honorable mention to somebody, and I'll do it to Dwight Powell. Just because even though he couldn't catch anything, he couldn't do nothing, he actually did a lot out there in the game with 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 4 points, 1 of 1 from the field, perfect at the line, 2 of 2. But if he hadn't just been able to catch some of those passes that were perfect to him early in the game, oh my gosh, that would have helped things so much. But yeah, Dwight was a little off, but he was battling and scrapping the best he could. He really, really was. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Trevor's saying, good morning, Raptors family. Don't be anxious about anything, but is every situation by prayer and petition with Thanksgiving present your request to God? What? All right. Hang on. Good morning, Raptors family. Don't be anxious about anything, but is every situation by prayer and petition with thanksgiving? You mean like giving thanks? Present your request to God. All right. I'm not totally sure what you're saying, Trevor, but thank you for the words of wisdom. I appreciate it. James is saying Zack Edy would have made our team better. Yeah, I won't disagree. He would have helped, but he wouldn't have bailed us out. In some ways, he wouldn't have been any better than Khem Birch. That's what I'll say right now. I'd say Zach's a little bit taller than Khem, but they're bound the same strength because Zach's not as strong as he's going to be when he gets older. And Khem is very strong right now. And in some ways, the veteran presence and knowledge of Khem Birch outweighs the young youth of Zack Edy and not totally understanding things. Khem's a way better FIBA player than Zack Edy because he just doesn't have as much experience in it. So, I mean, he would have been great at the end of the bench, helping us out and just in case. And that would have been nice. I would have loved to have him in the spot that Trey Lyles was in. But it wasn't to be, and it is what it is. And I don't know how Zach feels this morning, seeing what happened to Canada out there. Maybe he does feel a little bit like he let the team down with his personal decision not to play for Canada, because the only person who decided Zach wasn't going to play for us was himself. And y'all need to realize that. It's not the Grizzlies told him you got to play for us. Zach knew that for him in his NBA career, the best decision for him this summer was to go to Summer League and get his Grizzlies career started. And that's sad that the timing of Zack Edy in his rookie year coincided with an Olympic year where he could have possibly got some Olympic experience already and could have actually really helped us. Yeah, I won't disagree. He wouldn't have helped, but don't think that he would have been the savior end all be all that absolutely would have changed things. I would have switched out Lyles for him in a heartbeat. Because honestly, I'm not even happy that Lyles was on this team. You know, some of y'all brought up Chris Boucher and whether he would have helped us yesterday. Well, I don't think he would have in the least. But I would have wanted Chris Boucher on this team over Trey Lyles because in some ways they give us the same things. It's just Trey Lyles looks bigger than him, but he's not really that good on defense. You might as well just have Boucher down there. Boucher's not a FIBA player, though, guys. He's not physical enough. He get pushed around like crazy. And in some ways, his three-point shooting and what he does in the NBA is just not conducive to FIBA play in the right kind of way. I mean, I don't know. In some ways, I think about it. Chris Boucher on Team Canada, how would that work? I'd want to think that it would work because I love Chris and I want him to get everything he wants in his life. But I really do believe he's not a FIBA player, that he just does. He's the opposite of the bigs in FIBA, and he'd just get pushed around. He'd be useless. You think about that. If you want a guy who's just going to go out there and get fouls and get pushed around and get out rebounded, well, that might be what happens with Chris. Although he has been very slinky and able to rebound in the NBA and offensive rebound stuff. So I'm not totally sure. In some ways, it's no woulda, coulda, shoulda on this. In some ways, it's like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have had this person on the team and this person had been there. We could have had this happen. No, if we were going to play France in this situation, they were going to make this happen no matter what because it's script writing. That's right. That's right. Right there. Yeah. Trevor's saying Powell was so bad for Canada yesterday. He missed all of his assignments. You know what? He was bad, like with the not catching passes. That looks so bad. And that was part of the early struggles in the offense, along with the missed shots. The open shots were there for certain guys that were making them in other games, like Dylan and RJ early, and they just didn't nail them. They didn't go down. There were even shots that SGA put up that didn't go down that should have. I love how SGA calmed things down, though, and went to spots that were very measured and very high percentage to get our scoring going. That was really, really good by him because we were just having trouble just getting going in the beginning of the game. That's how bad the hit job was right away. Whether it was the energy of people like Batum and Cordner coming at us right off the bat of the game, or the referees very one-sided with the whistle, Canada had a really hard time getting it going in the game in the first quarter. And that really put us in a detrimental hole for the whole entire game after that. So it is what it is. Powell pissed me off early. He had horrible hands and he was not connected with his teammates, but he was gutsy and he fought and he did a lot of stuff. Now, in some ways, Powell gets pushed around and doesn't get certain things because he's not as strong as the other guys like Lesort and Yabusele. And in some ways, that's been part of the problem is that Powell is he's an interesting kind of power forward. He's not a center, and he's not very strong in some ways. He's not as strong as some of the other people. And that's why I would have preferred Kelly and Kem Birch in this game with the very, very strong. Like if we were playing Wemby and Gobert more, Powell would make more sense. But because their strengths on the other side for Les Blues was Yabusele and Lesort, that means go with the stronger bigs you got. And that's Kem Birch and Kelly Olynyk. That's what pisses me off. It's like, Jordy, notice where they're killing us. It wasn't Wembanyama. They didn't even use Gobert. So take your tall, skinny guys out, like Powell and Trey Lyles, and put the big fat guys, the strong guys like Kem Birch, the guys who are stout, the guys that will hold room down low. That's what I was thinking there. James is saying, why wasn't Boucher on the team? He's better than Powell, in my opinion. Well, Powell's been in the program for a while. He's ensconced. In some ways, he's a established Olympic player, and he's in that core. But who knows? He may be on the outs for the next cycle because we do want to upgrade and improve our team, because we do want to make it better. And Powell may not be good enough to be on the next Olympic team, because our level of talent will be that much better with the youngsters coming up. So, I mean, I appreciate Dwight Powell for his service and playing for Team Canada over the years. And I mean, I don't know. Boucher has just never been on the radar for the Olympic team. And I really do think it's because in a lot of ways, he does not have a FIBA basketball body type for a big. and that he, in some ways, listen, in the NBA, all right, think about it this way, James. In the NBA, there's very much little contact at this point. They've gotten contact out of the game, and Chris still gets pushed around down low. Now, in a FIBA, it's a green light. You can go ahead and just nail people and push them all over the place, and there's no fouls. So Chris would be absolutely ineffective as a defender in FIBA basketball. That is what I think is the truth. And I think that's the biggest reason why he's never been on any kind of radar for Team Canada basketball, is because he would be absolutely ineffective as a defender and a liability, James. That's why. Powell has at least a little bit more strength and a little bit more lower body holding down low. But Chris is very much a different kind of player, and that's part of it. I won't disagree that I don't think that I think Chris Boucher is a better NBA player than Dwight Powell. But Dwight Powell's a better FIBA player than Chris Boucher. How about that? How about that? Fiercey's here. Good to see MJ. I took a screenshot, if you need the comments, Lex, putting them in the Facebook chat. Okay, Fiercey, that works. I can do that. Let me see. Okay, that's really small. I don't know if I'm going to be able to read it. All right, I'll start with, I can't, it's kind of like, I appreciate that, Fiercey, though. Let me see. I'm going to go ahead and I appreciate you doing that, MJ, but I can't read it. It's really small, and I'll go ahead and just do it from here, unfortunately. Let's see. All right, let's see. Nako's saying, all things considered, I think Dwight was a good addition. This just wasn't his game. Happy birthday to DeMar. Yeah, I think that in some ways he had a really bad start, and he wasn't tuned in. In some ways, the passes from Jamal Murray and Lou Dort that he missed were like right on his hands, and he just wasn't paying attention. In some ways, he's not the most athletically gifted guy. He's just a really tall dude. And in some ways, you got to have certain dexterity and things, good hands. And in some ways, Powell's rating in NBA 2K for hands or catching is not that good in some ways. So it is what it is. And I'm not that mad at Dwight. I was while we watched it. But now when I looked at his box score and I saw just how much he filled it up and he was out there scrapping, I was like, you know what? Powell kind of did bust his ass in the middle of everything out there. It must have been so frustrating for him. Seriously. All right, let's take a deeper look at the box score. And you know what? We're going to give some credit to France. So we're going to go ahead and look at their side first. The guy who absolutely won this game for them right at the beginning was Cordner. Cordner was 4 for 5 from 3. He absolutely had the game of his life. In some ways, France had played really badly the last couple games and got bailed out with help to beat Japan. And Germany had kicked their ass the week before. So I'm hoping it'll stay true to this. But if it's magically like France is a magical team, all of a sudden they can beat everybody, even though they stunk so bad before this. If they beat Germany tomorrow, everybody's gonna know what we're saying. So you know what? Y'all really want this matchup. Well, you're gonna show everybody just how set up this whole thing is. If Germany loses tomorrow, I'm gonna tell you that right now. Germany should absolutely kick France's ass. That's been what's been happening the last few years. And the fact is, if all of a sudden France is some sort of miracle team that can overcome Dennis Schroeder and Franz Wagner and them, I'm gonna be calling script writing. Just like I am today. So watch for that. Now, Cordner, 6 of 10 from the field, 4 of 5 overall, 4 of 4 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals, 1 turnover, 20 points. Yeah, he was fantastic for them early. He was annoying. He had swag. He had confidence. He was really talking a lot of smack. These guys really did come in amped up, and I'm sure the crowd, having them on their backs, pushing them really helped. In some ways, Cordner could get really, really feeling good when that crowd's going crazy behind him right off the bat when he's nailing those threes. But yeah, congratulations to you, buddy. You had the game of your life. I don't think you'll ever have a game that good ever again in your whole entire life, before or after. So good luck. Good job for you, Cordner. Good job for you. Yabusele, really, really good also. 22 points, 6 of 9. A really, really efficient game. 8 of 9 at the free throw line. He hit 2 3-pointers also. 5 rebounds, 1 assist. Yeah, those were the two that carried them. In some ways, people like Lewenberg were saying, I can't believe the people who carried France yesterday were not like Gobert and Wembanyama or anything like that, or Fournier. Fournier did carry a bit, but it is Cordner and Yabusele. In some ways, Yabusele's been the best French player in the last year at every game I've seen them play against France. Canada had beaten France 4 in a row, twice in this pre-Olympic time, and then twice last year around FIBA World Cup. And that we were the ones who put them out of FIBA World Cup last summer. Well, they were the ones who put us out of the Olympics this time. And not only that, they were the team that put Canada out of the Olympics in 2000 also. So this is sad. In some ways, some of the old heads like Steve Nash and Roy Barrett Sr., who got put out by France in the Olympics in 2000, are really sad that this is history repeating itself once again. And this is bullshit. And the French people are all like cocky about this. I don't understand how French fans can feel good about this. You guys are like Laker fans. You go ahead and feel all toot your horn and shit like that. But y'all are just like Laker fans, getting fucking help from the league. So, oh man, it's annoying. Batum didn't have any points, but he absolutely was a factor out there with energy and scrappiness and doing really important defensive stuff. That should have been Kelly Olynyk for us on the other side. The things that Batum were doing, that's what Olynyk would have done for us. If he had gotten to play 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block for Nicholas Batum. Wembanyama, horrible on offense, but a factor on defense. 2 of 10 from the field, 0 of 6 from 3. People are telling me he's a good 3-point shooter, and I've seen it at times, but man, it's awesome when he's off. So in some ways, he was completely off yesterday. Thank God. That was one thing that was actually helping us a lot, was when Victor would take a 3. Well, usually we were able to get the ball and get back. 12 rebounds, though, for him. So he was collecting the boards, 5 assists, 3 steals, and a block, 7 points. Yeah, I'm not impressed with Victor. He really is having problems in his young career with he's goofy. And that one layup that he missed was so bad. Like, how do you airball a layup when you're a foot away from the basket and you're 7'4"? Like, seriously, how do you do that? Coach Pop, they kept showing him in the crowd, and he did not look amused or very pleased with what he was seeing on the court. I think that Pop understands what happened yesterday. And in some ways, he doesn't want his franchise player, young star, to win because the refs helped him. He wants him to win because he's a badass, and he won the game through his play. And in some ways, I'm sure, Popovich, knowing his personality and the way he is, he was probably disappointed in France yesterday. He's disappointed in Wemby and how he looked. Then he was also disappointed in the fact that France needed that kind of help to win. Seriously, I wouldn't be holding your head up. Seriously, France right now. Y'all are like, if most people can pay attention, they can see how this is script writing. Seriously. The point guard was horrible for them. 5 points with 5 as turnovers. That was really bad. 0 of 4, 0 of 3 from three-pointer. And then off the bench, Lasort getting 14 free throw attempts out of the 42, 9 of 14 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, 13 points for him. Yeah, he only took 3 shots, and he's got 13 points. What the hell is that? Gobert, zeros across the board. Koulibaly, a hot cup of coffee for 1 minute. Fournier, big time. In his time, he was the third guy that did really good for France. 15 points, 4 of 8 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3. Perfect at the line, 3 assists, 1 rebound, 1 block. And the Fournier dagger from half court of him lofting it up just at that point. Yeah, that was the exclamation part. That was the dagger. Because honestly, that wasn't even that very good a shot. That was lucky. And man, him getting that shot absolutely killed us for the game because it put them back up by 10. And every single time we tried to make some sort of close run, we get it down to 6 as the closest. Something would happen. So yeah, it was really annoying. So that's basically the French side of things, looking at it. And the interesting thing is both teams didn't really have balanced scoring. It was like 2 or 3 guys on each side that were carrying for the other side, for their side. And it's Cordner, Yabusele, and Fournier for France. And then for us, it was SGA and RJ, and that's it. So we needed a third person to step up. And in some ways, I go back to the box score and look at the Canada side now. Dylan Brooks was a huge fail yesterday. 1 for 9 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals, and 2 points. Only getting 2 points out of Dylan Brooks at that spot is really not good. That's anemic. And in some ways, that's part of the reason why we only scored 73 points. Dillon had some good shots, but he wasn't dialed in. In some ways, he was agitated. In some ways, there was a lot of smack talk. And there was a lot of anger probably directed at him by the whole entire building in France. You know, the referees chopped off Dillon's nuts as far as like what he would be able to do with a couple of quick foul calls on him. So that's annoying. Dillon had 4 fouls. He got 2 or 3 of them very early. And that basically has to make him think twice about how aggressive and physical he can be in the game. And in some ways, that takes him out of it. So that's the crappy thing right there. Lugetz was, solid. He was solid. I can't get mad at Lugetz because honestly, he was so getting after it. We saw that one play where he saved the ball from going out of bounds, looking like he was doing a dive in volleyball to save the ball from going out of bounds. And, he was just scrappy and doing what he does on the defensive end. So even though he actually scored 8 points, 3 of 6, 1 of 4, and 1 steal, and that's it. So, yeah, Lugetz, it's tough. He was out there fighting, and I don't think anybody would be mad at what Dort did in the game yesterday. Seriously. Trey Lyles, I'm just like I said, he was a waste on Olympic team. I'm telling you right now, Jordy, just because y'all know each other from Sacramento, he shouldn't have been on this team, honestly. I would have been happier with Kabengele, honestly, in that spot. Of course, Zack Edy in that spot. Maybe even O'Shea Brissett would have been better instead of Trey Lyles because Trey Lyles has been a huge fail at the Olympics. And I honestly don't want him on the next team because the problem is he's a big man that's an imposter. And in some ways, like I said, he might be like Boucher if he came, is just useless on defense. He's not rebounding. And if he's not making 3-pointers or being offensive, then he's a waste of space. And that's what I would say about Trey Lyles right now. 0 for 2 from the field, 2 of 4 at the free throw line, missing free throws. You can't even do that right. At least make your free throws, Trey Lyles. 3 rebounds and 2 points in 12 minutes. Yeah, just a waste of time. Olynyk only getting 3 minutes is messed up. Birch only getting 8 minutes, but doing 5 and 5 is fantastic. But he should have played way more, Jordy. And in some ways, you may have missed the boat on the Khem Birch stuff. Just like Olynyk, he may never play again in the Olympics. And it's too bad that you didn't let Khem have more of a shine as far as getting more rotational minutes in these Olympics. This guy all along was a winning player for you every single time he was on the court. But some reason he very much wasn't barely in the rotation. And when he did play, he earned more time, but you wouldn't put him out there. So Khem Birch was a fail with Jordy this Olympics. He should have played way, way more, especially yesterday. Nickel could have played way more yesterday. He only played 3 minutes. He got 2 points. In some ways, I know SGA had to play more to carry us, but why not play Nickel out there as the one of the guards too? And we could have gone bigger that way. You play SGA and him and Dillon, and then like 2 bigs like Khem and Kelly. That's a pretty good lineup against France in some ways. So I don't agree with Alexander Walker not getting to play more too, because he's a pretty good defender also. Now, the next 2 guys are the additions for this year's team, and this is what I wanted to tell people about making an All-NBA Team Canada team and why it was not probably a good idea. Now, the thing is, everybody wanted all the youngsters to come and play in this cycle. Mathurin, Sharp, Leonard Miller, whoever, all the young. Well, Nebhard, look at what he did yesterday. In some ways, these guys get thrown in the fire and figured out and have learning lessons like yesterday. But Andrew Nebhard, 0. Nothing. That man ran cardio yesterday. He played 15 minutes of the game, and all he got was 1 assist and 2 turnovers. That's messed up. In fact, Team Canada had more turnovers than assists yesterday as a group. And in some ways, we could look at each individual and see exactly who was wrong with that. Everybody who had more turnovers than assists, you are in trouble. And I'm going to say who they are right now. All right, let's see who's first. All right, Dylan Brooks, 2 turnovers, 1 assist. Yep, you're guilty. Dwight Powell, 3 assists, 2 turnovers. Okay, you're fine, Dwight. RJ Barrett, 3 assists, 1 turnover. RJ's fine. SGA, 4 assists, 2 turnovers. You're fine, SGA. Lugetz, 0 assists, 2 turnovers. Okay, he's on the wrong side. And then Murray, 1 assist, 3 turnovers. And Nebhard, 1 assist, 2 turnovers. Like, listen, Andrew Nebhard is an amazing player. He's young. He's coming up. He did really good in the playoffs this year. But he doesn't have the experience to play in a big-time game like this and understand this. In some ways, that was a whole new other animal that he had never experienced. in the kind of basketball game that it was. An Olympic game on the home court of the team you're playing with a crazy-ass crowd with FIBA officials and FIBA rules, and Andrew Nebhard looked like a deer in a headlight. And he didn't do jack shit to help us. He could not try to score anything. Did he take any shots? No. He just ran up and down the court, too scared to do jack shit. He did not try to do anything to help us with scoring, and he was useless otherwise. So I would tell everybody who just wanted all the youngsters to come in and take over, well, you would have had more Andrew Nebhards like this in this game. You need experience. You need guys that aren't know what they're coming into, and you need that balance. So hopefully we can get these youngsters like Leonard Miller and Shaedon Sharpe in more, and so they can get savvy and more seasoned to be ready. Andrew Nebhard learned something yesterday, and I'm sure the next time he gets a chance to play in the Olympics, he's going to be better for it. He's going to be better for it. Now, Jamal Murray is the last one I want to talk about because, honestly, he's been the biggest disappointment for Team Canada out of everybody. Yeah, sure, maybe he was hurt on the down low. But, honestly, I told y'all, just because we're going to get Canada all NBA players doesn't mean we're going to be absolutely badasses. In some ways, we need the experience of Ejim and Birch in the Olympics. So, Jamal Murray, however you feel right now, realize everything you did to set up for these Olympics was wrong and do it better next time. Now, will Nuggets be around a championship and the next Olympic cycle around that time so you won't miss out on World Cup? That's what I want to see. Jamal Murray, if you want to be on the Olympic team next cycle, you better be fucking playing at World Cup. How about I say that? Because we need you to get more ensconced and more comfortable playing with this unit, playing for Jordy Fernandez, because you look like a sore thumb out there that did not fit. You stuck out like a sore thumb. So, man, I'm so disappointed in the new additions. The core guys did a good job, the ones that were at FIBA World Cup last year. But the new additions to our team that were added in, like Lyles, Murray, and, well, Nebhard was good for a couple games in the middle there, but a disappointment yesterday. So, yeah. Oh, man. Fiercely saying Olynyk and Birch should have played more. Yeah. Yeah, they are the strong guys. You got Yabusele and Lasort. Look at those dudes. We needed guys that can muscle with them. And Powell, Lyles was pushed around, and the rebounds really showed it. Yeah. Trevor J saying German players plays France. Germany plays France at 11:30 a.m. USA and Serbia at 2:45. Yeah, I won't watch those games, but I'll be definitely checking out the box score for Germany and France afterwards. Yeah, David's seeing. Yeah, that sucks. That sucks. All right, David's here, so we'll go ahead and do the classic card of the day. We're at 9:40 in the morning. Let's see who we get today. We've had this guy at some point. We'll get a different one. Okay, let's not do that one either. Oh, this is weird. This is really weird. All right, guys, this is going to be the first on the classic card. This is actually going to be a two-person answer. So there's two people on this card, and there'll be two answers. So, David, you're going to have to give points for two different answers. Okay, guys? And once again, this is not an NBA card, which is very weird. It's a college card. So we need two answers for two people. I'll bring it up closer. The names are on the top, so I have to hold it like that. All right, these are two players. They're teammates, and they were on a certain team. What are the two players, and what are their names? Why does it say Arizona, but it's a Kansas? That's ridiculous. All right, what two players is that on this card? If anybody can name these two players, we'll see. Anthony Mason, Tom Duke? That's an interesting one. No, that's not Anthony Mason. That is not Anthony Mason. These guys are smaller than Anthony Mason. Let's see. You guys can see it up close a little bit more. I'm wondering if anybody's going to get this. Why does it say Arizona, even though it's Kansas? That's really bugging me. Tom, that's a good guess. You just saw a guy's face. I mean, that's not Anthony Mason, obviously. But, yeah, I don't know. There you go. Butt Dial's got one of the names. One of these players is Mario Chalmers. That is exactly right. One of them. So Mario Chalmers, I believe, is the one right here. This is Mario Chalmers. Now, who's the other guy? Who is the other guy? Yeah, good job by Kareem getting Mario Chalmers. These guys are from the 2000s. Yeah, it looks like Lowry and RJ. Yeah, not really. I mean,
I mean, a little bit like Lowry. I wouldn't say RJ at all. But yeah, who's the other person? He was an NBA draft pick too, but he didn't stay in the league as long as Mario Chalmers. I would say that he played for the Lakers. I think that that's the team that the other guy played for. So we're giving some clues on the other person. Wait, no, maybe I'm getting him confused with the guy. He has the same last name. All right. Let me see. If we get one more clue, one more guess, I'll give you guys a really good clue for the second person. Normally, we only have one person on a classic card, but we got two today. There we go. Cream got it. It's Brandon Rush. So it's Brandon Rush and Mario Chalmers. And I believe they were teammates on Kansas. So why the hell does it say Arizona on there? Arizona teammates. That's a misprint. That's so weird. Why does it say Arizona teammates if they were on the Jayhawks together? Do they think that Jayhawks are Arizona? I don't know. So 200 points for Kareem, getting both names on the classic card of the day. The first ever double card, Brandon Rush and Mario Chalmers, guards for the Kansas Jayhawks. No matter what they say, Arizona teammates. Classic card. There you go. Good job, Kareem. Good job, man. I'm proud of you. All right, let's see. We'll skip back to the top of the chat where David came in. He's saying, Cowboys here. Good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Dap. It's too bad we couldn't win that game, but I'm still very proud of this team. We will get them next time. Let's go, Raptors. I'm proud of them too, to a degree. I really am. This is a huge disappointment, and it is a fail. It's a very much a fail. You know, coming into the Olympics, we were kind of looked at as the second most talented team behind the USA. And the fact that this happened, there was a lot of haters of Canada. They're out there talking shit on social media saying, yeah, what were y'all saying to Canada, especially Dylan Brooks? Yeah, what were y'all saying? And in some ways, I could see the disappointment in SGA's face near the end of the game. In some ways, SGA said after the game, it's like, you have to earn winning in this. And he feels like we didn't earn it. And that's part of it. That's part of it. Maybe they were too nonchalant. Maybe they were too overconfident. Maybe they did think about this and this, but they didn't realize all the different kind of things that can happen. I mean, there is a learning curve to understanding when you're going into script writing hit job, how much it takes to overcome it. And I guess that the Canada guys didn't realize just how much they're going to have to overcome yesterday. That it was just like, the crowd. Okay, yeah, we can understand. There's going to be a lot of home fans going crazy for the French team because it's in Paris. They're playing in front of their home crowd, and they're crazy. Yeah, they can understand that part. Did they understand the refs were going to be helping them too? Did they understand that France was going to come out and hit them in the face and drop them to the ground right at the beginning of the game, and they didn't have to get up and keep fighting? That's the things. This, in some ways, these guys needed this learning lesson, but it sucks because in some ways, this learning lesson, if it could have happened during the earlier round when the games didn't knock you out, that may have been better. But no, the first game in the knockout round, boom. And the sad thing is, they go out before they even get the medal round and get to compete. It's really bad. In fact, I thought about it more. I'm like, this is so bad for Canada basketball because they really intended to get medals in all three of the basketball competitions they were involved in. You know, the women's senior team, the men's senior team, and the women's 3-versus-3 were all highly touted and looked like they could do very well. In some ways, I'm wondering if there were hit jobs on all three of them. Although the women's team was so bad that in some ways they need some restructuring with their leadership. The 3-versus-3 looked like they may have been screwed over, just like our men's were. So it sucks because once again, like I said, I watched that press conference with Michael Bartlett and Rowan Barrett Sr. and they said they need good funding for the program, and winning is what gets the money in. And them not winning nothing, in some ways, this indirectly hurts Team Canada's coffers for basketball in the future. And that's the sad thing about it. That's the thing I hate the most about this. But I'm very proud of them too. And like Cool Cat said yesterday, nothing's going to stop this train of talent in Canada coming up in the years to come. There's going to be more and more good players, and maybe they're going to try and stymie us and stop us now. But at some point, it will be so overwhelming that they won't be able to do this kind of stuff to stop us. So, yeah, the future is very, very bright, Cowboy. I agree. Yeah, but yeah, it is what it is. Trevor's saying Germany's gymnastic coach, when the Olympics to change the rules after Simone
win 3 gold once. I don't understand what you're saying today, Trevor. Speak clearer if you're going to speak in your things. You're saying that the German coach of gymnastics wants the Olympics to change the rules because of Simone Biles. All right. In some ways, I don't want to talk about that. That's not pertaining to our subjects on this channel. But I was saying, I just don't understand the lack of adjustments. There was way too many mismatches in the paint. It's like they were playing man the whole game. If they played zone, Lesort would have abused us. Wouldn't have abused us. I think it was personnel, honestly. I think that Jordy has done this the last 2 years pretty consistently, where he runs 4 guards in the center. And this is a big problem in FIBA. In some ways, it's bugged me all along because I'm always like, don't go into a gunfight with the smaller guns. Go in with the big guns. And in some ways, if you do have bigger players on your team, you need to match up and see them eye to eye across from each other. And I did never agree with these lineups where he'd put like Trey Lyles out there and he'd have like SGA, Nebhard, Jamal Murray, and Dylan Brooks out there. That's not 2 bigs. And when you have FIBA teams that are putting out 3 bigs and 2 guards, classic lineups for basketball, playing a 1 big lineup with 4 smalls, Canada, we can't do this. And maybe we need to catch up with the talent at the bigger positions in Canada's talent pool to be able to make up for this. But the fact that our very, very ultra talented players are guards on our team means that, sometimes he wants to gamble playing 4 guard lineups with 1 big. Well, that burns us. That burns us. I never agreed with that. I feel like you have to have at least 2 bigs out there at all times. And that's the thing that I philosophically very much differ with Jordy Fernandez on in some ways, that he really tried to play with just 1 big often. And that really hurt us. That really, really hurt us. Fiercely saying the officiating was BS, complete trash, all for money. Yeah, you guys can understand why this is a publicity thing or a build-up thing for this. USA is going to make good on their chance to get to the gold medal game. Obviously, with their talent and the way things are going, now that we're out of the picture, they have an even easier path to get the gold medal because we're out of the picture. And, France needs all kinds of help. They are literally the Lakers right now. The Lakers, the way they get treated by the NBA and propped up and pushed ahead just because of LeBron, you take LeBron out of the picture and put Wemby in there in his team France. And they need the help. And they're that bad. They don't play well together. Gobert is not good chemistry with Wembanyama. And that's part of the reason why they benched Gobert yesterday. You go ahead and make up some sort of excuse about a finger and a surgery and make it ambiguous. Y'all get your story straight, though, because nobody's saying the same damn thing. And that tells me that y'all are full of shit with your excuse for why Gobert didn't play yesterday. Some ways egos can't be bruised. So they give him a cover story. He's like, yeah, I hurt my finger in practice. What, did you bend it back for a second? And they were trying to say, no, he had surgery. No, I didn't have surgery. Well, what the fuck is it? Y'all need to get your stories right if you're going to lie to us. Because honestly, I know what it is. The coach decided not to play him because he's a liability. And to save face for him and his reputation, they're going to say he was injured. That dude, if he had played, Canada probably would have won. That's one of the things. It's like the coach is understanding this. You know what? Rudy in the metrics actually hurts us, guys. We've been looking at the metrics, sacre bleu, and he is so bad for us. Maybe we shouldn't play him, coach. Yeah, let's not play Rudy against Canada and see if that helps, because when he plays against Canada, we lose. I mean, that has been true. In the games I've seen Canada play against France, Gobert has absolutely hurt them, and we have utilized beating him. So they play him 3 minutes. They save him. They say, oh, we'll put you out there for just a minute, make an appearance, wave to everybody, but you're a liability and you're going to help Canada win if we play you too much. I'm pretty sure they came up with that decision. When I saw he wasn't in the starting lineup, I was like, what's going on here? And then he didn't even play in the first quarter, I think. So, yeah, that may have been the move of the game, honestly. I would say the coach of France deserved the win just because he had the balls to bench Rudy Gobert for whatever nefarious or made-up bullshit reason. Get your stories straight, like together, so that the lie sounds right. Oh, man. Kareem saying, Trudeau's still reluctant on spending money in the right places. We should have wired the refs some money to get some favorable calls. France's president, Emmanuel Macron, played the refs, and it shows. Money talks. Well, it's not the politicians. It's not the politicians, Kareem. It's the big companies like Nike. It's the big companies like the NBA. It's the big companies like FIBA. And in some ways, they have a brand. In some ways, they want to like really market the hell out of Wemby versus USA. And that's why I think that they had script write this to be what they want the outcome to be before the tournament even started. That in some ways, they got to help France nudge them along. They were in such bad shape. Japan was going to eliminate them. And wow, they had to save them from Japan and Yuta Watanabe. Well, Canada definitely was going to be putting them out yesterday, but they had to do a very, very intricate kind of hit job. And the referees absolutely had to come in aggressively against Canada immediately. And France had to come out there and punch us in the face with a certain kind of attitude and swagger to themselves, too, for it to take. And well, they did. In some ways, yeah, if you have these advantages, like the home advantage, the officials advantage, and the other team is not knocked off their block and having trouble getting their offense started, yeah, you should be able to win that game. But the fact that Canada scrapped back and made the game competitive in the second half and almost got within with them a couple times and only lost by 9, in some ways that's an accomplishment. And I'm proud of those guys for it. But yeah, it is what it is. In some ways, what can you do? Now, there's an interesting thing on Twitter of Lou Dort. Lou Dort is at the Olympic Village, and he's at the Canada Olympic House. And it shows like what the setup was, what Canada set up for them. So we're talking about funding for Team Canada. Well, they have this amazing room that Lou Getz is showing off, and it's got pictures of all Canadian athletes, and they sign their names on the wall, all the athletes, and there's a bunch of swag in there, like Lululemon swag and stuff. And it was the Canada gear, and the athletes were allowed to come in there and just kind of take what they wanted to wear. And Lou Getz was talking about how he came in and got his swag and put it on. But it was kind of like a little area for Canada athletes to chill and kind of have a common area, like a rec room kind of thing where they could chill and just maybe visit with each other or get to know each other across sports. So yeah, the Canada House was shown by Lou Getz on CBC Olympics Twitter account. So it's kind of interesting to see what they actually had over there set up for them, Canada basketball. Smooth saying SGA and RJ showed up. As for the others, the moment was too big for them. As bad as the refs were, talent should have won out. Mentally, the others were not there. I mean, all right, let me pick this apart because in some ways I agree with a lot of it. I don't know if the others, like we've got to understand when there's a really intense situation and the referees are against you, the crowd is against you, and so much is going on. Sure, you can look like a deer in headlights like Andrew Nebhart did yesterday. But the thing is, when your ultimate talent, like superstar in the NBA, like SGA, your talent will translate against anything. It's like really true when people say, yeah, nobody can stop Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, not even a crazy ass convoluted game like yesterday. And that's why he went off. In some ways, RJ's on that scale also. And that's why he's able to go off. Now, Jamal's on that scale too, but he's just not playing well. And he shot really badly. He could have added to things and helped in some ways. Dillon Brooks, he failed. He needed to be bigger and do better in certain ways because we had been relying on him already. And he had a certain amount that he was chipping in here and there. This was not the right game for Dillon Brooks to go bad offensively. So in some ways, these different people on the team, they had different failures in different ways. Jordy had failures. Dwight had failures. Jamal had failures. Sure, different people had failures, but until you're in this situation, and this is not like an NBA situation, the one they were in yesterday, you don't know how to deal with it. And I think that that's true. The moment was too big for them in certain ways. Yeah, Country Kong's here. Good to see our friend JP in the chat. What's up? Lex, I was disappointed yesterday. I thought this was our year to do something special. Memphis held out Edy, and it came back to bite us. Lesort couldn't miss, but 25 free throws to 8 in the first half. I know, JP. That's a huge, huge thing to overcome. And that's why they piled it on real thick. In some ways, it's like I said recently, the FIBA game's much harder to come back from than NBA. On Sunday, we talked about this. The differences between the NBA and FIBA. A huge 20-point lead is almost insurmountable unless you're Serbia against their game the other day where they came back against Australia and won. So, man. Now, Zack Edy made the decision. It wasn't Memphis. They gave him the option, and he chose to play for Summer League instead of the Olympics. That was Zach's decision. He's owned it. He said it afterwards. He said, I've decided to play in Summer League for Memphis for myself. So he chose himself in his career. And that's what he said. Seriously. So if you want to get mad at somebody, don't get mad at the Memphis Grizzlies. Get mad at Zach himself, because he's the one who made that decision solely. They gave him the option. He could have done either. And he was the one who chose to go to Summer League. Now, him going to Summer League, getting hurt, and barely playing at Summer League, and then seeing what happened with Team Canada, yeah, he's probably feeling like he let people down. I hope he is in some ways. If he's waking up this morning and he's like, oh, I'm all bright and fresh and I'm a Memphis Grizzly, and he didn't give a shit about Team Canada, well, there's a problem. There's a problem. So there should be some guilt in Zack Edy's body right now about his personal decision not to play. It was not Memphis. It was not Memphis. They may have tried to influence him, but he had the choice, and he owned it himself. He came out in an interview after it happened. He said, I want everybody to know I made this decision myself, and I decided for my career, it's best for me to go and start my NBA career at Summer League. So we got to make sure that we say this correctly. Yeah, Lesort couldn't miss. Lesort couldn't miss at the free throw. He did a little bit, but he wasn't missing down low with shots. It was all handed to him by the refs and putting him on the line. So those guys are big, strong, physical guys. And that's why I wanted Kelly out there and Kem, because those are our strong physical bigs, not Trey Lyles, not Dwight Powell. Dwight Powell's sneaky, and he's quick, and he's all over the place, and he's a good defender, but he's not a muscle guy like Kem Birch or even Kelly Olynyk. And those were the guys who should have been playing. And that's Jordy's mistake right there. Yeah, the 25 free throws to 8 in the first half is exactly the ref hit job. Is the fingerprints on the crime scene right there. Trevor's saying SGA and RJ the best players. Everybody else was sleeping. They were sleeping, but they're not. They were sleeping on offense, because in that situation, the very premium, absolutely most talented, skilled offensive players can score in that environment. But the guys who are not top-notch, like RJ and SGA, struggle in that kind of scrappy, officials are not helping you or like looking out for you in any kind of way, whereas they're totally helping the other side. Yeah, in some ways, players like Dylan Brooks, they cannot get going in that environment because they're not the same kind of offensive player like RJ and SGA. In some ways, Dylan has to feel good to get going. Like, that's part of the secret, is if Dylan gets feeling good and he's in a rhythm, he can really get going. He can get his shot. But he took a couple of early shots and he was very bad. And then the refs kind of took him out of the game with foul trouble. So in some ways, that's part of it right there. That's part of it. Kareem saying, so I just heard that no NBA team is allowed to block a player from representing their native country. Zach put out a statement, but Andrew Wiggins opted out. It's time we cancel this guy. No morals. So you just heard a statement somewhere. I don't know if this is exactly true. Because, but that's interesting. So maybe there is a rule like this. They should have a rule like this, because people should have personal autonomy to be able to make their own personal decisions. And an NBA team telling a player that they can't play for their country is wrong. It's anti-freedom and it's controlling. But, you know, Wiggins, I always thought that Wiggins really did want to play badly. Now, this is the thing. Once again, I'll say this, guys, much like this Gobert thing I talked about with his finger injury yesterday, there's a lot of cover for ego and image. And O'Shea Brissett is a good example of this. Now, in some ways, the thing that happened with Wiggins may have been clouded on purpose because he wasn't going to make the team. You got to think about this. There's a lot of money involved in professional athletes' lives. And if Andrew Wiggins is on their contract and he's still trying to play in the NBA, if he comes to Team Canada practice and he's not good enough to make the top 12 and they kind of feel it and they know that, they could come to him and say, look, Andrew, you're probably not going to make the team, but we don't want this to hurt your professional career. So let's just make it seem like the Warriors aren't allowing you to play. And boom, they come out and say, yeah, the Warriors are not allowing Andrew Wiggins to play in the Olympics. And then it saves face for him to be like, yeah, he wasn't good enough to make the team. Because I'm being honest, I didn't know whether or not Andrew Wiggins was good enough to make Team Canada. All y'all just supposed he was. Because y'all think, oh, Andrew Wiggins, he's been in the NBA forever. He's so good. He's a champion. Yeah, but he's fallen off in the last 2 years. And we don't know where he's at because we barely seen him play. So it could very well be that O'Shea Brissett and Andrew Wiggins showed up to Team Canada practice at OVO Center this summer, and they just weren't up to snuff. And they were going to get cut. So the saving face is all right, let's just blame Steve Kerr. O'Shea Brissett, his excuse was, well, I have to concentrate on free agency now all of a sudden. What? Well, why did you even come to camp if you knew you were going to be free agent this summer? Winders this shit. Like, O'Shea, wait a second. Did you take one of the spots in camp that could have gone to somebody like Shaden Sharp or Leonard Miller? And when they could have been in a real spot to try and make the team, and you weren't going to make the team. Wait, but why did you try to make the team? Okay, wait, you're saying it's because free agency you opted out? No, that's bullshit. You didn't make the team. You got cut, and you're just making an excuse afterwards. I think this is the same thing with Andrew Wiggins. I think this is the same thing, that those guys weren't good enough. And that was the truth of the situation right there. And they make excuses and blame Steve Kerr. I mean, it could have been Steve Kerr. I don't know. The Warriors are trying to say, oh, he's in a weird situation with us. We need him to be healthy. I mean, I can understand why Steve Kerr and the Warriors would be like, Andrew, we don't want you to fucking play in the Olympics. You just took a year off to be with your dad when you're healthy. And we've been waiting around for you. Now, all of a sudden, you just want to come and play for Canada? That's what I'm saying right there. That's what I'm saying right there. Yeah. Yeah. Wayne's saying the Canadian team was not mentally prepared to play a home team in a knockout phase of a tournament. We also lacked consistent, deadly three-point shooting. France's three-point shooting kept their lead. All right, let's do the team stats. This is a great cue to go to the team stats for the game because, yeah, we're going to break everything down about this. And this is very true what Wayne said. They beat us at the three-point line to a degree. It's not that they shot real good from three at all. I mean, Victor didn't make a single damn three, and he took like 6. But the fact is, Canada's three-point shooting was so bad. 5 of 21 from three for Canada, 24% from the field. You're not going to win games when you shoot like that, and you may need to rely on that, especially when you can't go down low because it's the land of Wemby. If you can't go down low because Wemby's down there, and you're not making close baskets, and you're shooting outside at 24% at three, you're going to lose. That is a part of it right there. This is true. Now, we did shoot worse than them for field goals in general. It's amazing. We got almost 20 more shots on goal than they did. We were scrapping and fighting and getting shots up, but we just couldn't make field goals. 25 of 66 for Canada, 20 of 48 for France, 42% from the field for them, 38% for us. The free throw discrepancy is so blatant. 42 free throws in the game for France yesterday. It's the most free throws any Olympic team has shot in any of the men's competitions so far this year. And that is totally by design. And only 25 for our guys. And honestly, they made up for the free throws in the second half. We only had 8 at halftime. And they gave us, another 13 or whatever. So on top of that, or 12 on top of that. The thing about it is, like I said before, a lot of the fouls that were called were shooting fouls for them, but they ambiguously. And I didn't understand why they were getting in line. The other thing that pissed me off was the take foul. They called a take foul where they gave Victor Wembanyama 2 free throws, and then they gave France the ball. There were 2 calls in the middle of the game where they stopped our fast break by grabbing SGA on the arm, and that should have been take fouls exactly the same. That should have been 2 free throws, and I don't care if there's guys ahead or anything. As soon as you grab a guy's arm instead of going for the ball, that's a take foul, stopping a transition basket. And that should have been 2 free throws for Canada and possession of the ball. That is the rules. You did that shit for Wembanyama in the game yesterday, but that happened twice that France did the same damn thing to us. And both those times, what did the referees do? They made Canada inbound the ball from out of bounds, and there were no free throw attempts. So I'm telling you, those are the little ref manipulations, the little distinguishing between the different kinds of fouls, whether it's a non-shooting foul, a shooting foul, a take foul. All this bullshit is a way that the refs can manipulate. Now, we didn't get out rebounded that bad. It was 37-36, and we actually won the offensive rebounds. So it wasn't the normal thing where there were a couple possessions where I was like, Canada, just get the fucking defensive rebound. And they gave France like multiple chances to score. They do a really, really good job defending in the second half where they hold France off from scoring, and then they get the shot up. It's a bad shot, but then they don't get the defensive rebound, and France gets the rebound back, and they get another chance. And then they guard them really, really well again, and they shoot a bad shot, and they miss again, but then they don't get the rebound for a second time. and France gets a third attempt on the same possession. Oh my gosh, boxing out. And that is a symptom of that one big 4-guard lineup I'm talking about with Jordy again. The whole fucked up thing about rebounding this whole Olympics has been the playing a small lineup without 2 normal bigs. Other teams are playing 3 bigs and 2 smalls. We're playing 1 big and 4 smalls. So it's not that this team doesn't have enough bigs. It's Jordy playing a small lineup. I'm telling y'all right now, that's a big part of it right there. And Coach Fernandez, don't do this to us in the future. FIBA is a big man's game. It's not a guard's game. I'm telling you, you get things done with your big men, and don't short staff us on big men. And then everybody's going to tell us we were too small. Well, it's because the coach made personnel decisions that way. I'm telling you, assists, 19 for them, 13 for Canada, and 14 turnovers. 13 assists, 14 turnovers. Not many teams going to win with that many. And of course, a lot of the turnovers can be attributed to bullshit from the refs and just stymieing us early. We got 8 of those turnovers like in the first half of the game. And then we cleaned it up later in the game and things were better. So yeah, the box score is what it is. It is what it is. And we can see a little bit of the autopsy of the cadaver of Team Canada Olympic 2024. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Smooth saying Canada just wasn't mentally prepared. It's really that. The world is laughing. It is what it is. Yeah, I mean, people who laugh at us or say whatever they want to say, we're still on the rise. And you know what? This is all right, baby steps. We didn't make the Olympics since 2000, so this is good. We made the Olympics. In some ways, we were feared. In some ways, we were very much a threat in certain ways, but it didn't come to fruition. We got experience for it. In some ways, coming back to the Olympics, if we got knocked out and didn't even make it to the knockout round, like teams like Japan and other teams like South Sudan, in some ways that's still a baby step and getting somewhere closer. But we got to the knockout round. So in some ways we did achieve, but it's sad that we didn't even get in the medal round. So it's a weird thing. It's still baby steps and it's still a progress. But we had lofty goals and we had lofty aspirations that were very realistic that just didn't come to fruition. So it's all process. And, well, the people like Sharp, Mathurin, and Leonard Miller and Nebhard and other youngsters coming up, well, hopefully they can be more serious and take this seriously and really come at it. I really do hope that the younger generation is not like Jamal Murray and more like RJ Barrett and Kelly Olynyk as far as taking this shit very seriously. Because Jamal Murray, honestly, if you're just going to be a half-assed joker like your teammate in Denver, I don't want you on Team Canada because you're going to be a false person that we think we can rely on that we can't. Now, if you're healthier the next time and you are a totally different Jamal Murray, hey, I'm all about it. I'm all about it. But seriously, I want you to do some soul searching after this. In some ways, you were way too nonchalant. And your body language and the way you held yourself told me that. You weren't eye of the tiger. You weren't zoned in. You didn't fucking take this shit serious enough, is what I'll say, Jamal Murray. That's what I'll say right there. Yeah, but I was saying I discovered a newfound hate for Evan Fournier. Yeah. I mean, in some ways, I really do not like France right now. In some ways, I don't like Wembanyama all of a sudden. And that's weird because I really do like Victor in certain ways because he plays for the Spurs. But right now, I don't like him. It's almost like Gobert. Yeah, I always hated him. But now, why is Victor's feeling more like Wembanyama to me more like Gobert at this point? Yeah, I've never been a big fan of Fournier or Batum. They're annoying. In some ways, they're thugs. Yeah, David's saying he destroyed us. Who destroyed us? Evan? Well, he got the big dagger at the end. I don't want to over-embellish our language. He destroyed us. That sounds so awful. G saying Birch had 5 points and 5 rebounds in 8 minutes. That was a fail not playing him more. Exactly. He was holding space. He was a shit disturber. In some ways, they couldn't do anything down low when Kem was out there. But meanwhile, while Dwight was out there or Trey, they could do whatever the hell they wanted down low. But when Birch was down there, he was causing disruption for them on their inside presence stuff. Like Lesort and Yabusele couldn't just muscle in there when Kem was out there. And that was the big problem right there. Smooth saying Germany should have no problems with France. Exactly. And that's why I'm saying we'll watch with our eyes wide open. And if somehow, some way they screw over Dennis and their team, we will know exactly what's going on. Some script writing. That's what I'm going to say right now. You're kind of screwed in some ways, FIBA, because France is an imposter. Germany is the real deal. and they're hitting on all cylinders. They're badasses. They've already beaten France in this Olympics. So the pattern should hold. Now, if they're going to screw over Germany somehow, some way, just to get a final between USA and France, because that's what they're going to try and do, then we'll know that the FIBA basketball is just as rigged as the NBA. And I didn't want to say that. I was hoping this is how disappointing this is to me, is that I thought that FIBA could be on the up and up and allow for teams to just compete and not try and manipulate outcomes and storyline right, like they're doing right now for Team France. But watch, if they screw over Germany and Dennis Schroeder and Franz Wagner and Mo tomorrow, we will know that's exactly what happened. Seriously, we will know. I'm going to say this right now. France has really no realistic way to beat Germany in a fair competition because they are so much better than them. And France is not a good team. They're really scrappy and dirty, and they are getting help is what's going on right now. Yeah, let's see. Trevor's saying men's 400-meter finals, track and field at 1 p.m. All right, cool. G saying if Dennis and or Wagner get in foul trouble early, we know what's up. Yeah, watch with your eyes wide open. I'm not going to have any time to do it because I'll be busy doing other stuff. But I'll definitely check in on things later with the highlights in the box score. Definitely. Sergeant Wayne saying Raptors will have the same problem in general if we don't fix our inconsistent shooting deficit. That's basketball now. Stretch shooting is key in being competitive. Kelly, unlike Powell, adds shooting. Yeah. Kelly Olynyk has an outside three. Although in some ways I'm a little worried about Kelly dropping off in his career right this summer. That in some ways he was so much more important to FIBA World Cup basketball. And this year he really didn't get to play a whole lot at the Olympics. I'm wondering if they're gauging it. In some ways, I'm worried about him showing up. In some ways, I like that we have a lot of young talent at center around things. But in some ways, I don't want to rely on Kelly too much for things on the Raptors in certain ways. I don't know. It's weird. Listen, the team for the Raptors this season is going to be totally different than last year. We have built around Scotty, and Darko has more pieces that he likes that he's not inheriting from the team from before. So hopefully things will be way smoother with the offense for the Toronto Raptors in the season coming up. That's what I'll say about that. And people like Grady Dick, Jacoby Walter, and other good shooters are going to be part of that reason. But they need to be good shooters. They need to shoot well. They need to make their shots. That's for sure. Smooth saying, I mean, if the plan is to get France the gold medal only to lose the Americans by 30, that's laughable. That is the plan. That's the plan right there, Smooth. We know that they won't beat USA. And MSG's bet with me, he's going to win it now. I'm pretty sure USA is going to win the gold at this point. And it is what it is. Chris, good job. You're going to get your wish. And you were right. But I thought it was foolish to just pencil them in that they're going to win no matter what. There could have been other things that could have happened that could have messed things up. Now, I don't know. Serbia maybe can do something interesting to USA, having played them already once this week. Maybe they have some get up and some anger. Maybe Nikola and Bogan will be like doing something better, but I don't know. There are still 2 chances to stop USA from winning the gold, and we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, Germany and France, we're going to just have to see what's going to happen here. And if there is going to be some script writing, well, it'll be more evident in this. The Japan one was so evident. I feel like ours was a little bit more covered up, but it's there still. But the Japan screw over was definitely there, and you can see it. It's very blatant. And the people of Japan don't get upset and complain about too much. But they were upset after the game, just like we are about the game with us yesterday. They were upset about their game. That's right. David's saying maybe a loss isn't in the script. Yeah, if they try and railroad France over USA, that would be so weird. I don't know how they could do that. They seriously would have to do some major script writing. And really, like, they might need to Tanya Harding some of the USA players on the way out if for that to happen. Seriously. David's saying, I like that hat. Is it new? This is my newest Raptors hat. It's not that new. It's like 2 years old. But it's the newer one. It's on rotation here and there. You know, I got so many hats. I've got like 10 hats. So let's see. Tommy's doing the classic card there. And Butt Dial got both the answers. Good job. Very, very good job by Butt Dial on the classic card. Wayne saying Trey Lyles was sympathy selection. Jordy was a fail yesterday. Our loss is a team loss and very, very disappointing because from coach to player performed below their collective talents. Yeah. I guess maybe they didn't understand exactly how much a force was going to be going against them. In some ways, they have to come with real force themselves and be badasses and be such talented guys that they are just inoculated against all the forces against them. In some ways, they were not, and they didn't understand this. And maybe in some ways, it is the lack of size on Canada overall that doesn't allow them to beef up and shore up their defenses against the style of how things went yesterday. I mean, I guess that could be true, but I'm not going to say it's height, guys. I'm going to say it's strength that we were lacking. I'm not going to say we were lacking size or height. We were lacking strength. And that was strength against that bouncing bear guy they call Yabusele and Lasort. And that's where we had a problem. And we did have strength on the team. We could have used it, and we didn't play it enough. It only played like 11 minutes of the game collectively between Kem Birch and Kelly Olynyk. That is our strength right there. Yeah, that's too bad. You know, Jordy learned some stuff from this. He's a fantastic coach, and I know we're going to do very, very well in the future with him leading us. And, well, he had to take a tough lesson right here. Kareem saying, I know Brandon Rush because of Kareem Rush. Mario Chalmers was easy. Yeah, I got Kareem Rush confused with Brandon Rush because I think Kareem Rush was the Laker guy, and Brandon Rush was on the Bobcats, actually, I think. So, yeah, I think I get those two confused. Are they brothers? I was going to make a clue about the great power trio of prog rock. Of course, our favorites Rush to get the clue. If you guys had not gotten it, if you had not gotten it, Kareem, there was a Rush clue coming. These guys sing Tom Sawyer. Neil saying, I'm proud of Team Canada. However, next go around, it will be great to field healthy players in the top spots. Yeah, you know what? Let's not lose sight of this. This is still a huge achievement that Canada has gotten further than it's gotten in a long, long time. In some ways, Canada hasn't done anything in basketball worthwhile in the Olympics since 1984. That's crazy. That's the last time we medaled, y'all. So that's 50 years ago almost. That's 40 years. We need to get to that point again. And hopefully in the next cycle, we're going to get a medal. Next cycle. But man, I hope this doesn't dismay people and make them not want to help support Team Canada just because of what happened. It's too bad that not a single one of our basketball Canada programs got anything. It's really, really a fail. It's really, really sad. Really, really sad. Let's see. Smooth saying medals mean money. The loss is very damaging to the program. That's what I'm saying. And some people know this. It's calculated. It's calculated. In some ways, people know this. And they know that in some ways, they want to hold us back because they know we will be more and more powerful as the young people grow up and more people come into our talent pool. So in some ways, they're doing an early holdback on us this Olympics by getting screwed over. And it'll hurt us financially. That's the thing I'm saying. G saying, I'm reading comments from Americans that don't trust the refs and need Germany to take care of business. Yeah, I don't know why they're worried about France. In some ways, if I was an American fan, I would be like, go ahead and screw over Germany. I'd be more worried about Germany. And go ahead and take on Wembanyama. Seriously, the American fans aren't paying attention because they don't watch the Canada game. They don't watch Raptors games. So they don't understand like the nuts and bolts of what we talk about, like we're doing. We're going through this box score this morning. They really just see the box score. They didn't watch the thing. And what they're saying, they're getting all crazy online on Twitter saying, yeah, Canada, y'all were pretenders. You're imposters, all this kind of stuff. And they don't even realize the hit job the refs did on us. They're just coming from the headline, the thing that comes out, France beats Canada. And they're just replying off that or commenting off that. They have no context for exactly how it went down yesterday because a lot of them didn't pay attention. So, and some of them are coming back and saying, yeah, Canada, y'all thought you were so badass and look at you now. Well, if you knew what happened and you actually looked and saw everything, you'd change your tune and you'd say, well, actually, wow, okay, hang on. There's something more to this than just like France beat Canada. You know, that's the thing. There's a lot of people out there getting opinions formulated, and they didn't actually even like know the real story. So Trevor's saying we will have better bigs ready for 2028 Olympics and for FIBA style basketball. We better. We're going to need it. And in some ways, maybe that's something we got to keep in mind for the team building. I mean, it is true. We have better talent in guard positions than in bigs. But hopefully there's some bigs coming up in Canada, like Oliver Ryu and Zack Edy, and they'll come and show up next time. Dre saying Jamal Murray failed Canada and played horrible the whole tournament. SGA and RJ were the only guys who showed up and played good this tournament. I mean, I'll agree with you somewhat, Dre, but I won't say that they're the only guys. That Luget's Dort played exceptionally well in this Olympics for what he's supposed to do. I'd say Kemp Birch played exceptionally well for what he was allowed to get time to do. Kelly Olynyk was not good in this Olympics, sure. Andrew Nebhard had it was 50-50, honestly. He had 2 really good games in the middle, and then he had 2 stinkers on the outside between the 4 games that Canada played at the Olympics. So it's a mixed bag. I will say overall, Jamal Murray was a huge disappointment. But you know what? Think about this, and somebody speculated this in the last couple of days. Maybe Murray had a hard time, similar to Steph Curry for USA, because of the difference in the 3-point line. And there's just different spacing when the line is a little bit closer, like it is in FIBA compared to NBA. So in some ways, that was part of maybe the problem for Murray and Curry on their 2 respective teams, because Steph Curry's been absolutely dreadful for Team USA this Olympics also. So I wonder about that. And then also there's a lot of speculation whether Jamal Murray is actually 100% with his health. So, but I'll agree. SGA was fantastic, and RJ was really, really good, and he's made Raptors fans really excited about the season coming up. But yeah, overall, some of the guys. I mean, Dylan. You could say Dylan was fantastic up until this game yesterday. Dylan Brooks was absolutely fantastic in the Olympics up until yesterday, and that's sad that he didn't show up in the game that mattered the most, where we could be eliminated. So, G saying on a different topic, IQ and Bruno in Africa. I'm very intrigued with Bruno right now. I hope he delivers. The talk of big bodies reminded me of our new signing. Yeah, he could be very helpful for us. In some ways, I do want him to make this team because I think he is a very good player. He's a good shot blocker. He's a lob threat, and he's a very strong player. He's annoying. He could be very much an enforcer in big ways. Some of our guys at that position on our team right now are very young, green, and have no experience, whether it's Shamshay, Carlson, Mobo. These guys aren't totally ready to step in with a veteran way and help us win. But Fernando is a little bit further along with his experience in the NBA, and he could be that guy. Now, let's go look at the Instagram stories because Emmanuel has moved his location. Yeah, let's go look at it real quick. First of all, we got Amari Moore BFFing with DJ Carton. There's a picture of the 2 of them with their arms crossed in the Raptors practice facility in Las Vegas. It looks like Amari Moore and DJ Carton are good friends. They're dogs. It's very, very cool. And you know what? Do some things on 905 together, guys. The chemistry could be awesome between Carton and Moore is what I'm talking about. Emmanuel has switched locations from Johannesburg, South Africa to Paris, France. And you know what? He's got to be a little disappointed showing up after what happened yesterday. I know he was hoping he was going to come in and see his buddy RJ and his teammate Kelly Olynyk play for Team Canada in the medal round, but now he's not going to get that. And so Emmanuel's there probably to watch the medal round, but he's not going to see Team Canada. Of course, he'll go and probably support the Team USA team. But man, he's got to be a little disappointed, seriously, that just like we all are, that RJ's not in the next round. Seriously, because I know he was rooting for us. He said it on his Twitch stream that he thinks Canada could win the gold and that he would go to Paris to root for them to do it. Well, he showed up to Paris and Canada's done. And that sucks. I hate that so much. Slim Duck has got on his Instagram. It's him, more clips from the Pro-Am in Toronto last week. Bones Highland, Norman Powell, Quincy Guerriere. Yeah, he's really milking the stuff from that, Chris. And there's a picture of him dapping Scotty once again. He keeps posting that picture. And he's got Drake first-person shooter playing over it. So, yeah, he's got a strong connection with Scott. And, man, Chris, I just want you to hang out. I don't want you to get traded all of a sudden. In some ways, I'm worried about that right now. So, yeah, Chris has also got a clip of Draymond Green talking in a practice to young players about how to play basketball in certain ways. That's interesting. Chris looks up to Draymond. I know he played with him when he was in Golden State. So it could be that on the download, Draymond Green's a mentor to Chris Boucher. Yikes. I know that Chris talks to Kevin Durant, that he is very much a big fan of him and he wanted to be like him. And Kevin actually does look out for Chris as an old teammate of his. Norman Powell's got Kobe Bryant on blast. He's talking about the grind and what it takes to understand the grind. That's right. It takes a certain amount to understand the grind. Jamison Battle has got some sort of weird game where they're just dribbling around.
some sort of highlight. It's what league is that? I can't even tell what league that is. It's very weird. Malachi Flynn has been doing the Pro-Am circuit, of course, since he's still not signed. And there's a picture of him with Klay Thompson at this last Pro-Am. Malachi wearing a weird oversized number 3 jersey. And Klay Thompson looking like he's absolutely shit-faced in the picture. Like, you look at him, and I don't think that's marijuana or cannabis. I think that he's been drinking is what it looks like. Once again, Precious is in a plane over the earth, and he's seeing this amazing view out his plane window, and he's saying God is great, because it does look pretty beautiful, and like he's just enjoying creation, and he's giving all credit to and glory to God for creating the world, and he sees it from up above on the plane. There he is on the catwalk. Canali looks like Precious is in France now, so he may be there all of a sudden now to take in Olympic basketball. There he is outside of Notre Dame. I think that's Notre Dame. That may be some other church. I'm not totally sure. Precious is doing the tourist stuff. There he is, looking kind of like Bono with the wraparound shades. Precious, he's at an art museum taking pictures of stuff. And yeah, there's a What If Unlimited event in Nigeria coming up. But yeah, Precious doing the catwalk, man. Living that Serge Ibaka art life for sure. Raptors have a mural that they put up out at Oswego Festival. It's a music festival, and they had the 30th anniversary logo on the trailer. So they were representing and advertising the 30th anniversary season for Toronto Raptors coming up this season at the music festival out at Oswego. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yuta Watanabe taking a picture of him with his teammate looking at the Arc de Triomphe. Yeah, Japan's been out for a little bit. It's too bad. Gary Trent Sr. is ready for Virgo season. He's a Virgo just like me. So yeah, let's walk on into Virgo season, Gary Trent Sr. He's such a proud Virgo in some ways. It's hilarious. Let's see. What else is Gary saying? He's got his dog. His dog is so interesting. It's got a really big head. His dog has such a big head. Yeah, and he's got the truth behind jeans. If you want to know the truth behind jeans, go to Gary Trent Sr.'s Instagram stories. They'll tell you. And let's see. We got Jamal Shed. Looks like he's playing some pickup ball right now with some other players. There's a step back 3. Beautiful shot. We want to see that happen on a Raptors jersey this year. Jamal Shed. Pascal still out there with Real Madrid, taking soccer practice with his guys. Living his dream. He wanted to make Real Madrid, but he's at their practice. And then he's hanging out with the players, talking to them. He's running around with his brother Christian. We see Christian Siakam. And he's also on an orange scooter. He's riding around with a big smile on this crazy orange scooter. And it looks like there's fans near him on the street, but they don't know who he is. In some ways, Siakam can go around and not get known in some ways. It's really interesting. So yeah, Siakam's at a big the game where Real Madrid's playing. So he's taking it in on the sideline. He's actually on the field on the sideline. So he gets the VIP access of being on the sideline with the team. So very, very cool stuff for Siakam, living his best summers as usual, whether he's on a great, luscious blue island with blue skies and water, or he's hanging out with Red Bull in Austria. Siakam makes the summer good. He really does. He really gets his summer in right. That's one thing. All right, remember, 905 is having a camp out in Mississauga at Humber College and also in Brampton, August the 12th through the 16th, and also August the 19th through the 23rd. So check that out. And Shamshe is putting on blast David Algana Ike from Basketball Without Borders. There's your Instagram stories for this morning. Emmanuel quickly has shifted from South Africa to Paris, France to take in the Olympics. That's where he's at this point. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Trevor's saying Darko's very excited about the Bruno signing. Yes, I've heard some media of Darko talking about Bruno Fernando, and I think he specifically asked them to get him. And he's like, I think that it sounds like if Bruno is playing correctly, if he's playing hard and he's showing some stuff and he outcompetes people, he may get a spot on our team this year. It really does sound like that because he's got a huge fan in Roy Yakovich. So it could very well be Darko's going to say, yeah, Masai, make this work and get Bruno one of the spots because I want to use him. He's very useful for my team this year. So I've heard this. I've heard Darko glowingly talk about Fernando. Glowingly. Wayne Strainer saying, Raptor Freaks and Canadians, please don't go full bore on the refs. We played to lose. We were avoiding the paint even when France was in foul trouble. Referees can't stop a team playing great.
I mean, I won't disagree with this, Wayne. It is a perfect storm in some ways, but they were definitely unfair. We can't. I mean, I'll blame the crowd. I'll blame the coach of France for not playing Gobert. I'll blame our guys for not hitting open shots. I'll blame Jordi Fernandez for making crucial coaches' mistakes. You know, somebody said on Twitter after the game that the French coach outcoached Jordi, and I will agree with that. I will agree with that 100%. That there are certain things that the French coach did to prepare the France team that Canada did not do to prepare themselves, and that their game plan was way better. And once again, I think it was what a masterful move by France to bench Rudy Gobert, whether it's a made up injury or not. I would say this, but I mean, the referees definitely were a factor also, and it's evident in the foul discrepancy. And that in the way, like, once again, we all know as Raptors fans, when the foul calls and the whistles are one way on one end and they aren't on the other end, and it's very, very lopsided and biased. But I would agree with Wayne that we can blame our ultra good Canadian NBA talent for not overcoming all this and winning anyway, because in some ways they could have. In some ways, if one of the other guys had gotten going, whether it's Nebhard or Dylan or Jamal Murray, that may have been enough to overcome France by the end of the game and win. They put themselves in a hole badly at the beginning, got right across the face. Alan Tam, bam, son, fell to the ground and had to start in a deficit. And that they could have recovered from it because they're that talented, but they didn't. And part of it is because nobody stepped up, like Wayne's saying. Yeah. G saying wasn't all refs, but a free throw every minute for a team that struggled to beat Japan and against the best defending team in the tournament is suspect. No, it's very much a hit job and script writing. They don't care. It's just like I say, just win, baby. They don't care. They wanted France to win no matter what. This is the same situation as the Raptors and the Lakers earlier this season. Earlier this year, when Darko went crazy in his tirade after the game. If you were going to decide that you wanted France to win this game, why did Canada even show up? It's the same shit in some ways. Seriously, we just want a fair chance. And in some ways, we weren't given that. And our guys weren't talented enough to overcome it. And that's part of it right there. Neil saying the funding helps taking the basketball program to the next level. We have to work our younger players like under 17, under 18 and up. Our professionals are not a concern because they get structure already. Okay, so the money and funding actually goes to the lower levels and the younger ages. That totally makes sense. Of course, the guys on the team that just ended yesterday, they're getting NBA's training and playing in the NBA. That makes total sense, Neil. Yeah. Blackhawks saying when the Dream Team was formed, part of the agreement is owners cannot block players. That is why Wiggins' withdrawal is suspect. Once again, I'm going to say this. There's PR moves. In some ways, as much as like I think now that Koloko's not going to be able to come back to the NBA, they won't announce that he's been rejected by the NBA fitness to play panel because that's information that everybody's needing to know, and he could get cleared by it later on, but it'll look really bad if they put it out there. So once again, if Team Canada decides they want to cut O'Shea Brissett, if Team Canada decides, yeah, we're probably going to cut you, Andrew, they won't save face. And maybe they make up lies and they say something to the public just to make things seem like we've very, very, very mad at Steve Kerr or a couple months ago because it seemed like he was the one telling everybody that Andrew couldn't play. Well, it's ambiguous. It's weird. It's a weird place. In some ways, Steve Kerr doesn't want to outright say, yeah, I didn't say that to hurt Andrew's cover for him not making Team Canada because he wasn't good enough, possibly. That's what I'm saying. That could have been the truth. Is that like they cover it for Andrew so he doesn't look bad. And they say, yeah, no, Golden State's not letting me play. But in reality, he was not up to snuff to compete and make the team. Seriously. Especially if he came in with the same kind of nonchalantness that Jamal Murray did. There's one thing if Jamal Murray's nonchalant. He's a top-level nuclear option on offense. But if Andrew Wiggins is kind of washed and he's not fully coming with the right energy of commitment, yeah, see you later, bro. Adios, amigos. And yeah, you can say whatever the fuck you want on your way out about why you're not on the team. How about that? I mean, that could be very well true. I mean, this makes sense that the teams can't block them because of the Dream Team. That makes total sense. Neil's saying France gave us a taste during the exhibition game. To me, this dancing bear is their secret weapon because we did not prepare for Dylan Brooks to start, for DB to start. The dancing bear. Yeah, don't do DB. That's going to make me think Dylan Brooks. All right. Yeah, because Yabusele's Yabusele to me. I said he was a bear earlier. No, he's their most important player, honestly. He's their heart and soul. In some ways, he's doing all the gutsy, dirty work, and he's the most physical player for them. And in some ways, yeah, maybe a little bit it was a taste in the exhibition game, but maybe this is something I should have give credit to the French coach also. He played a little possum on us in the game that didn't matter last week, saved his good stuff, maybe even was tinkering around with Gobert to see if he was worthwhile playing against Canada. And he found out enough to know that he needs to bench him against Canada yesterday. And that's part of the reason why he made such a good, astute thing. In some ways, the French team losing to Canada the last 4 times they played them and then beating them in the most important game shows that France, in some ways, understands the Olympic cycle better than Canada. And that, Canada's just trying to come up and put in a full effort on every level. Maybe France is slouching at FIBA World Cup because they know, the big one is in Paris at our home country next summer. And then they're going we're going to be half-assed and not really do things. And then we're really, really going to try when the game is absolutely the one that matters. So I got to give some credit to the French coach for the Gobert move, especially right there. Yeah. Randolph saying, beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang, blessings, new day, new grace, and mercies, new opportunities to advance this world to a better place. Your contribution matters. I appreciate that, Randolph. Appreciate that. And I appreciate you being here. Blessings to Randolph Phillips and his family for sure. And all the Raptor Freak families. Trevor saying, Lex, next 2 weeks, I will send you a package with some more classic cards. Awesome, Trevor. And you have my new address again, right? Just in case, message on Facebook if you don't. And I'll give you the new address for where I'm at out here now. Wayne's saying, we're sounding a bit naive here. Olympics have always been a racket. Talent, effort, and planning wins games. You just can't be nonchalant. And we were on cruise mode. Production from Brooks, Dort, we win. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with Wayne on this. I forget that, Olympics are kind of rigged in certain places in certain ways. There's certain competitions you can't rig. You got to do all the rigging before to try and stop somebody from showing up, like the sprinters for Jamaica, man. But yeah, I think you're right. In some ways, I wanted to just believe there could be pure sports and competition in this world since the NBA is so fucked up. And I just, my reality comes crashing down. That's part of why I'm so depressed about yesterday. It's not just because of Canada, what happened. It's I'm let down to know that FIBA is just as bad as the NBA. It makes me so sad. Maybe I was naive, Wayne. Maybe I was idealistic. And I just thought, you know what? They can have a fair competition in Team Canada basketball at the Olympics. No, they can't because there's script writing they need to make. That's right. That's right. Yeah. I think that the nonchalantness of Canada did hurt us. And there was probably an overconfidence that was not necessary or did hurt us also. Yeah. I'd say Dort was fine, but Brooks could have helped us a lot yesterday. Really could have. Randolph saying, Lex, our Team Canada have what it takes to win gold, but they never play their full potential. I kept wondering what was the issue. Well, I've kind of outlined a lot of what happened yesterday, Randolph. It was a hit job by the refs, coupled with a very strong energy buoyed by a fantastic home crowd yesterday that was absolutely in tune with it. You know how European crowds can get for basketball is similar to like a soccer game where they really get crazy with chanting and loudness and stuff. I didn't have the volume on when I watched it, but I could tell that crowd was very much loud and a factor. And they were very much anti-Canada and for their home team, Paris. So France. And so in some ways, the referees, once again, there's a phenomena with referees that they want to unconsciously please the home crowd, especially if they have like thousands of people around them that really, really want them to be pleased. And they have to think about the calls. Now, they're already in the script writing of saying, yeah, we got to help France as much as possible because Canada will probably beat them just normally. Yeah, that's part of it right there. So Smooth saying, Lauri Markkanen is signed with the Jazz, 5 years, $238 million. Now, part of the deal that was announced this morning is that he cannot be traded this season. So I thought that part of this was a sign and trade because there's so many teams pining after Lauri Markkanen. But no, he's going to be a Jazz this year no matter what because there's a no trade clause for this entire season in this new contract for Markkanen. So, yeah, Wayne's saying, probably I missed an episode, but have you complimented Precious on his 1 year contract? Yeah, I did go over Precious getting signed. I believe it was on Saturday. at near some point. I talked about it with Milbester once, and I also reacted to it afterwards. I was happy that he got re-signed. I'm sad that it's with New York, but in some ways, it's also a good fit for him. The Knicks need him, and that contract only $6 million for a year. Well, that's just how things are going. You know, if it was a couple of years ago in the NBA, he might have gotten $10 million a year. But the new salary cap is hurting his range of player in the league, just like Gary Trent Jr. So, yeah, that's what it is saying. Yeah. Wayne's saying, why are we still talking about Wiggins? Please stop it. Well, everybody wants to go over how things went and what could have changed it. And a lot of people were saying in the comments on Twitter that if Zack Edy and Andrew Wiggins had been on our team, we would have done better. And I just wanted to kind of like set the record straight on those. And yeah, I don't think Andrew Wiggins would have helped us. He would have been worse than Murray. Let's just put it that way. And he probably would have like taken time away from RJ is what I would say. Yeah. Mo's here. Good to see Superfan Mo coming in right at the end here. Hope RJ plays great play in the Olympics. Translate to the NBA. I know it will. So she's hoping that RJ's great play in the Olympics will translate over into the Raptors season for the Raptors this year. Yeah, let's hope for that. I think RJ's such a steady, fundamental kind of guy. The way he does things is the way he does things. And, well, I think that I could see this happening as far as RJ carrying some of this good momentum into the season. We'll see how he does with some rest for a month, come back for a training camp, and we'll see the Raptors in preseason. And hopefully RJ's looking real good from the three-point line and the free throw line when the season starts. Yeah, Trevor's saying, yeah, you're writing in something Smooth just wrote in like 20 minutes ago, Trevor. You've really got to watch your duplication. There's people that are bringing this news out, and it's already out there. So, all right, let me go over the last little things, and we'll get off the stream for today. Yeah, 9-point win for France. It's bullshit. It is what it is. Happy birthday to DeMar DeRozan. It is DeMar's birthday, guys. It's so awesome. Let me see if there's any other little comments that I see in here that I kind of want to do from you guys. I think it's the same stuff as what we've already talked about. Yeah, as far as the comments that Fiercey put in the chat with the picture, I think it's pretty much the same things we were saying. I appreciate that, though, Fiercey, for putting that in there and going above and beyond for that. So, all right. Yeah, let's just finish up, guys. Thanks for watching today. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And tomorrow we'll do a Thursday Think Tank. I don't know. What do you think we should do a think tank on? It's stupid because I was planning on doing a watch along tomorrow. And in some ways, I have to do more work now because Canada lost. I was really hoping I'd have 2 more watch alongs tomorrow and Saturday. And that makes my streams easier to do. But now I've got to do off-season content. So, that's another reason why I'm pissed. I'd rather just watch the games and react to them. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. And please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And if you feel like joining the channel, membership has its privileges. You get access to our Facebook group where we're breaking news all the time on what's going on around the league in the NBA and Team Canada stuff. All right. Thanks. And I'll see y'all guys tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. We'll have a Thursday Think Tank. And I want to know what y'all think on the Raptor Freak channel tomorrow morning. Let's go, Raptors. Woo!